Of the Right Stand, I am Anand Narasimhan. Congress MP and leader of the opposition in the Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi, questioned the merit system in Bharat, highlighting the struggles of Dalits and tribals for equal access to governance and education, further calling the merit system unfair and completely flawed. The leader of the opposition slammed those opposing the caste census and accused them of wanting to hide the truth. The BJP quick to hit back at the Congress leader. Rahul Gandhi said, and I quote, "There is a completely flawed concept of merit where I confuse my social position with my capability. For anybody to say that our education system or our bureaucratic entry systems are fair to Dalits, OBCs and tribals, that's just a complete fallacy. The entire narrative is an upper caste narrative. This notion of merit is actually itself an unfair idea." Rahul Gandhi further adding that during his interaction with Professor Turat,
there is this idea that is being pushed by the RSS and the BJP, right? Which is basically to destroy their history, to destroy the history of the Dalits and the Adivasis and the OBCs. I think it's not supporting the caste census is actually anti-national, because what you're saying is that we're not ready to accept the truth of what is going on in our country.
पब्लिक ने इनको पूरी तरह से डीमेरिट कर दिया है. अब ये मेरिट पे तो आते नहीं है, तो इसलिए पूरे देश की मेरिट को ये ओवररेटेड कहेंगे, मेरिट का जो है वो कोई मूल्य नहीं बताएंगे. मुझे लगता है कि जो कास्ट बेस्ड जनगणना है वो अपनी जगह पर है, लेकिन आप जो है वो हमारी जो और भी जो हमारे बहुत ही काबिल जो पूरे लोग हैं उनकी आप मेरिट को आप कह देंगे कि बेकार है, फर्जी है, तो ये तो बेवकूफ़ी से ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं है.
Now, responding to Rahul Gandhi's statement, BJP IT cell head Amit Malvia took to X and wrote, "Does Rahul Gandhi even know what he speaks? The dolt just ran down millions of people who come from poor and socially marginalized backgrounds and rise up in life just by the dint of their merit and sheer hard work." Unquote. Amit Malvia questioned further, quote, "But how can one expect an entitled dynast to even understand what it means to compete and excel?" Unquote. BJP National Spokesperson C.R. Kesavan also slammed the Congress party and said that Rahul Gandhi's shocking outburst on merit clearly exposes the nepotistic and feudal mindset of his party. Does Rahul Gandhi's quota quote actually hold merit? That's the question that we asked tonight on the debate. Let's go across to our guests one by one. First up, we've got Nikul Patel of the Congress party joining us. We should have Rajat Sethi, political analyst, and also Abhijit Mazumdar, author and columnist, joining us very, very soon. Nikul Patel, namaste. My first question to you, sir, is
Namaste, sir.
Do you really believe that it's your surname or your caste that actually decides your merit? When I write a CBSE exam, when I write a NEET exam, when I write an IAS exam, IFS exam, IPS exam, go for an interview, my marks don't matter, my surname does. Is that what Mr. Rahul Gandhi is saying?
See, I would like to convey over here to the people of the country that whenever you are into any examination system, you are a candidate. But when you get that opportunity and you are getting that merit marks, after that, wherever you are going to get an entry, suppose at an admission level or the job level, suppose the environment or the socio environment that a person must get an equal competitive environment, that is not getting, that is why you get a reservation, and that is why you have a separate merit list for scheduled caste, separate merit list for scheduled tribe, separate merit list for OBC, and there is a general category merit list. So definitely, yeah, if you are having a merit list, definitely if you belong to a particular caste or category, that is going to make a matter when it goes to an entry level. Now, what Rahul Gandhi ji was quoting over here is that I would like to just convey that there is a mindset who are in the upper caste that those people who are having low merit are not entitled to get into the system, and that is what he wants to convey to the people of country, and that is what the entire thing he wants to say.
Now, when you say those people of low merit, you mean those people who have not scored well, no? Those people
low merit in the sense, see again you are contradicting the things in the way. Low merit in the sense, suppose a general category candidate is getting a 90% mark and a scheduled tribe is getting 70% mark. That 70% mark is also good candidate, but the way in the which he has given the entire exam, the environment which he is having, he is going to give him that marks. That is what he was comparing. Over here, we are not telling that anyone is of less merit, but it's you
okay.
are.
Nikhil Patel, aren't you defeating your own argument when you say something like that, sir? Merit
No,
means,
I'm not
no,
defeating.
okay, I'm just
See, you want to make a general merit list. I would be very clear. If it is a general merit list and all going to get his admission at a general merit list, then scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, OBC will not get admission to any entry level for admission. Are you agreeing to it or not?
Sir, it should, what should matter is how much I score. If the examination is basis on my on the GPA or on the marks that I score and the cutoff for that particular university, how does it matter what my birth is or what my caste is? Shouldn't only the marks matter, sir? And if that is the case, then the marks don't have any caste written against them. Mark does
Again,
not. It's just purely marks, right? Nikhil, but okay, you've made a point.
Definitely,
Okay,
you are making a right statement. I'm not arguing to it.
Correct.
Mark
So,
is only mark. That doesn't carry anything. But that marks will go to the entry level somewhere.
No.
It makes a difference.
No, sir, it doesn't. What happens, sir, is that we decide we should have a quota for a certain section of people because they need to give them more opportunity. But that doesn't mean but that doesn't mean that you can tell that person it's okay to score poor marks and you will still be a doctor. A doctor with 40% pass marks, will you trust that doctor's diagnosis? Or would you want the best doctor to treat you when you fall ill, Nikhil Patel? Just think about this, because that's exactly what VP said. That's exact, because
you are challenging the reservation system that has been provided by the Congress to this country for the social upliftment of the people who are really not able to come to the merit.
1 minute, Nikhilji.
Nikhilji,
we've got everybody else. Let's have an intellectual debate. I'm not here trying to spar with you. What I'm trying to say is, if we created a system where there is a flaw, we should correct the system so that there is equal opportunity for everybody, but merit is not compromised. If Mr. Rahul Gandhi equates merit to caste, then is that not a flawed logic, is a question I am asking. VP Singh himself, at the end of his when he was ill, he did not want someone who's come via reservation with 40% marks and become a doctor to treat him. It's a matter of record. So I am asking you, I'm asking all our viewers the same question. Would you want to be treated by someone who's meritorious in terms of good because of what their ability is? Or would you want to be treated by someone who's come through purely because of a caste and because irrespective of whether they have good quality or good ability or not? It's a simple question. Nobody is saying that no, there should not be opportunity created. Create opportunity. There is affirmative action is the conversation that's going. But on what basis? At the compromise of merit. Is Sethi equal to meritorious? And is Majumdar equal to not meritorious? Is Narasimhan equal to not meritorious, and is Patel equal to meritorious? Is that what Mr. Rahul Gandhi is saying, Rajat Sethi?
Good evening, everybody. Well, I thought I'll not start off by making personal remarks here, but what Rahul Gandhi has said is so atrocious at so many levels. He is neither the product of merit nor the product of social mobility. So he does not understand, he has never internalized the concept of merit. He has also not been a beneficiary of the social mobility system, so he also doesn't understand what it feels to be a Dalit. How does our oppressed communities would want to be treated in systems vis-a-vis merit? He doesn't understand any of it. Neither is he a professor of sociology who has done some unique study to reach to a conclusion, which I'm quoting, by the way. He said, merit is absolutely a flawed concept. This is what he said. I just want to genuinely understand from him, what data is he referring to? What kind of assessment? I mean, how did he reach to this conclusion that merit is a flawed system? Did he refer to any research paper? Because he himself is incapable of doing that. Secondly, how did he himself rise on and become the leader of the party? When you did not even allow the space for a Dalit leader who is only a de jure kind of a president in the party. You don't even consult him for important reforms in the party, and you yourself trusted you just because you belong to family. Essentially what Rahul Gandhi is saying, family is on the top, possibly caste and community is second, and the third thing is merit. This is the idea of India that is internal to him. He has only been a product of family. He understands what family means, and only possible avenues of opening doors is through family. Essentially, that's the only school of thought that he brings to the table. Otherwise, if he has any other thought process, put up those research papers. I want to understand. I can go out and quote, there have been American researchers who've been researching India's affirmative action. They say that reservation possibly is not the best possible way. It is cash handouts which need to be given to empower them so that they can educate their children in a much better way and can compete on the level playing field with other community students also. There have been research, but in this country, it is leaders like him do not allow the space to even have intellectual discussions like this. These are international professors who will study on our own affirmative systems and write research papers, but you cannot discuss that here. It is because of this disingenuous approach that Mr. Rahul Gandhi brings to the table.
Well, Utpal Kumar is a colleague and also a fantastic writer, and he's just written a book called Eminent Historians, where he says that this is that lot who since independence have never wanted proof, peer-reviewed or hard proof. They start with a maybe and then conclude with a therefore. So even this, in this case, it is suppose and that is why. So there is no data, there is no hard data. So I'm pinching that from Utpal Kumar while giving him due credit. But Abhijit Majumdar, please tell me, how does this logic work? How do you fit this logic saying merit does not work? And is it true in our country that merit is equal to your caste?
Anand, by just uttering the word logic, you are being casteist. Because logic leads to merit. So Rahul Gandhi, the irony of Rahul Gandhi saying that, merit is as a concept deeply flawed is so ironic. He has never lifted a spoon, perhaps with merit or because of merit. He is commenting on what he is essentially doing is basically parroting the critical race theory of the West, of the woke West, of the far left West, which propounds that there should be endemic counter racism against whites, and everything that is logical, merit based, nothing matters, because at some point of time 500 years ago, 600 years ago, 300 years ago, my parents were my ancestors had to go through slavery or some kind of disadvantage, or even through the years there has been disadvantage, which is why nobody who has any merit should be given any respect in the entire system. There should be a complete blackout of anybody with merit. Just think about upper caste boy who comes from a poor family, or even a Dalit person, or a EBC girl who's actually putting tremendous amount of effort in sports or academics or arts and anything to come up, and she is told that why are you doing all this? Why are you putting in 16 hours of hard work to get where you are? Because this as a concept is deeply flawed. Because it has to be, everything has to be quota, and essentially the subliminal attack, Anand, I believe, is on Hindutva, because Rahul Gandhi and the Congress is finding it very, very difficult to overcome the challenges, political challenge that Hindutva has posed. That Hindutva, brings together all, it subsumes the whole caste divisions to a, really great extent. So he is trying to constantly hammer away, chip away at caste fault lines to engineer a chink in the armor. That has not succeeded. All the elections have shown that it has not succeeded, and it is also an insult to a backward caste person to tell him or her that, well, no, you please don't compete on the basis of merit, because you are not worthy of competing on the basis of merit. I will make it easy for you.
No, not just that, sir. I'm saying, all right, let's say that we need to give based on jiski jitni sankhya bhari. let's say 40% of the country's population is Dalits. Let's say let's say another 35% of the country's population is SC/STs. Let's say another 5%, 10% of the population is Muslims, and there is the overall upper caste grouping comes for another number. Okay, I'm just saying hypothetically. How are you going to pick the best 40% out of these Dalits? Out of the 40% Dalits, how are you going to choose which Dalit comes through in the examination?
No, because there is no merit, there is no way to choose.
So at some point in time, you will have to, Nikul Patel, you will have to admit that you will pick the best out of the Dalit student, right? Even in that, even if you say, I'm going to mark out a quota, I'm going to mark out a classification of 50% reservation for this group, you will still pick the best student. Now, should that best student, what is supposed to be the policy for a framework, Nikul Patel? To ensure that the education that is received in an urban city, it's the same education received in a rural classroom, and it is the same education that is imparted to every student. And then you pick the best of those minds, and as per their ability, you classify them and ask them to pursue vocations or skills or disciplines. Is that not how a system is supposed to be?
Yeah, you are talking of an ideal system that has to be. Definitely, you are very correct. And I appreciate the thought process of yours that there should be an equal footing for everyone in the country. Equal classrooms, equal type of educational system, equal type of environment that everyone must get. Is the rural guy who is sitting into the village, into the tribal area, getting the same environment what an urban student is going to get in the JE or NEET preparation? I think not. I will just like to say that is what the mindset or the upper caste want to portray and impose on the people of the country, that nothing is going to happen.
Just a
it
10
is the
second,
right way,
just
and
a
there
10
is no.
second interruption, Nikul Patel. Sorry to break your flow. Is there any data which shows to you that all students who are studying in rural India are all lower caste, and all students in a classroom are studying in urban India are all upper caste? Do you have any data to prove that? Are you trying to say that there are no Brahmin students, there are no Rajput students, there are no Savarn students in any of the villages in rural India, and there are no Dalit students, there are no SC/ST students, there are no backward class students in any school in urban India? How are you? On what basis are you making this broad sweeping statement?
I would like to give my own example. I belong to scheduled tribe Dodia Patel of Killa Pardi Taluka, Valsad district of Gujarat state. And when I was in 12th standard, I was not able to access all the classes and everything. Definitely, I got only 60% marks. And then also due to the scheduled tribe reservation, I was eligible to get admission at Maharaja Sayajirao University of Baroda Mechanical Engineering, which for open category student was around 85-86%. So that is the difference that I want to convey, and that is the broad concept.
Correct, but let me ask you one thing. Were you the only student? Nikul Patel, one second.
In the job also.
I'll come to you only, sir.
I will come for education and job.
I'll come to you. We'll come to the job part in a bit, Nikul Patel. I'm talking to you only. In that 12th standards classroom in Valsad, were you the only student? All the students. Sir, 1 minute. In that classroom in Valsad, are you saying there were no Savarn students? There were no general category students? There were no students who had the same problem that you had, but because you had the SC/ST quota at 60%, you got a seat. But the rest of them who were equally did not get democratic education, or they had poor education facilities, they lost out. So where is the consideration for them? That's one. Second, at 60% you can become a mechanical engineer, but at 85% another person cannot become a mechanical engineer. Is that not a serious sacrifice of merit, sir? With no disrespect to you.
Okay, then that is what the narrative is being said by all the people in the country. You can see, I am just letting you know that is what an equality and equal environment what I am talking of, right? Even in the job, I would like to say, in the job also, when I got the job, it was only due to the reservation that I got the job as an assistant professor in a particular university. And that is what is required: social reservation and social upliftment.
No, but
and that is why
but does that is
That is the policy
is it
of
the
Congress.
reservation? No, 1 minute, Nikul Patel. Is it the reservation that made you a good professor, or is it your effort?
Yeah.
Is it your effort to become a good teacher that makes you a good professor? And based on the quality of your teaching, you are going to teach the future generations. Now, if you have come through a quota where you have got 20% less than somebody else who is eligible but did not get a chance to become a professor because they were suburban, how is that equality, sir? In your head, how is that? Had you got 70%, had you got 80% just like the other kid or the other person, and then on reservation you had come at 80%, then there would have been parity in terms of merit. Then you had still got an assistant professorship because you had equal qualifications and equal scores as another person from another caste category or a higher or a Savarn category, and then you got it. There would have been no compromise of merit. But sir, what I am trying to ask you is, I am not questioning your ability as a teacher, as a professor, and you have faced hardships like many of us have, irrespective of what our caste or background is. All of us have come from humble beginnings and all of us have faced hardships. Like I said, you are not the only student in that 12th standard, right? There were 30 other students and a lot of them were Savarn. They also had poor education facilities. So should the focus be, Rajat Sethi, on ensuring that equal education opportunity goes to everyone across the country, and the best among the lot get into the various skills based on the skill and the vocation? Was that not the ancient Varna system itself? Didn't the Gurukuls decide who will do what? It was not by birth. The Gurus decided in the institutions what are your abilities based on your marks and gradation, based on your merit. That system got corrupted over the last many decades, last many centuries or millennia. But isn't that the thought process, that the best or the most capable get to do the jobs that they are most adept at doing? Shouldn't that how the system be? Where you create an opportunity for everyone to shine through. Rajat.
I hope, Anand, that is the case. I hope that Rahul Gandhi is not trying to say that DNA-wise our Dalit communities and our tribal communities are weak and they cannot score. I hope so. I hope that Rahul Gandhi is not trying to make that sinister statement out here that they cannot compete only on merit. The real problem here is very clear. It is access to education. Providing them the human resource, the economic resources that all our Dalit brethren and our tribal brethren rise to a level where they have access to primary education, have access to super good quality secondary education, so that they can go out and compete.
No, but even when you make this statement, Rajat, you are saying that all Savarna brethren have got access to education. There are no poor Brahmins at all. Sir, 4% Brahmins in the country, data shows at least 60% of them are below the poverty line or they are poor. So,
absolutely.
what I'm trying to say is, we are ourselves typecasting certain groups of people to be rich, certain people to be poor. Haves and have-nots at the end of the day. But haves and have-nots can be across societal structures, right?
Absolutely, 100%. This is why EWS reservation stood the test of Supreme Court, because there were segments of society which required state help to actually provide affirmative actions to state, basically based on economic status. I mean, there is one gentleman here from Gujarat. I can tell you there's a whole bunch of people in Metai who are struggling till date to get an ST status. They, by all logical explanation, they should be scheduled tribes, but because nobody in Delhi cared about them.
But them getting a classification as scheduled tribe, does it take away that they should not be meritorious, capable and able?
Absolutely. So,
Abhijit Majumdar, that's where I'm saying. They should get a scheduled tribe, scheduled caste status or a reservation because they are meritorious and they are not getting a chance. Because they are bright, they are intelligent minds, they are smart minds, they are capable people, but they are not getting a chance. It should not be that they will get a chance even if they are not capable, because I have to give it to them. Then that's compromising merit. How are we then going to create a meritorious country or a capable a nation that pursues excellence?
100%. See, there is no doubt about
Abhijit,
what you're saying.
final word.
The logical flow of what Rahul Gandhi said, his counterfactuals actually point to that level, that there is some DNA level issue that the Dalits cannot compete on merit, which is sinister. That is what I'm trying to hint at. His entire logical argumentation is supremely flawed. And Dalit brothers and our tribal brothers should
Many believe the entire argument is flawed because it's bereft of logic. It's not about Mr. Rahul Gandhi's personal lifestyle or his background. No, it's the point of view that he's taking as leader opposition. Is it Is it educated? Is it backed by data? Is there any number data that he can prove, or is it a suppose and therefore case? Abhijit Majumdar, final word. Have to wind up after this.
Yeah. So as I said, Anand, he is infantilizing the lower castes. He's actually insulting them by saying that please do not expect merit or logic or anything, any competitiveness from them. Just hand it over to them because I want their votes. There is Indian Olympic team can go with absolutely incompetent people who do not have to prove merit. India's ISRO scientists don't need to prove merit. They don't need to prove merit. Just simply, and mind you, we already have affirmative action. We already have reservations, which Dr. Ambedkar himself had said that it should come with an expiry date.
Correct.
It cannot be a blank check which goes on and on and on and on and on.
And
there is no doubt. There is no doubt that there is still caste discrimination, but it has such things actually deepen caste fault lines. Rahul Gandhi does not have a single solution, nor does he wish to have a solution to creating caste consensus and amity.
Right. See,
he is simply playing at fault lines, and he is actually infantilizing and insulting the lower caste as he does with minorities.
No, point is it an educated one, or is it just a suppose and therefore syndrome?
No, I think it's a sinister one. It's not.
You're saying is a sinister one. I've got to wind up, but viewers, just this thought before we move on quickly. If a school denies a student entry into the school or in education because of their caste or their birth, then that's discrimination. But if a school or a system is developed in such a way that denies someone who's meritorious and scored 80% because they have to ensure that that spot is reserved for someone who's got 60% because of their birth, then is that also not discrimination? Is that also not denying Bharat the true meritorious ability of someone who's excelled and someone who's being denied because of their birth? Doesn't the logic work both ways? And shouldn't the system ensure that that discrimination also does not happen? We leave you with that in terms of this discussion and this debate. Quickly moving on, there's big news coming through on the Enforcement Directorate crackdown on the SDPI's activity. SDPI operative Wahidur Rahman Jainul Abidin in Metupalayam, Coimbatore has been arrested. Wahidur Rahman was arrested after completion of searches and was brought to Delhi on the 20th of March. Wahidur Rahman was a physical trainer of the PFI, is also closely associated with the SDPI. So thereby further drawing the dots or connecting the dots between these two entities, saying one is closely linked to the other, with the PFI being the parent body. That's the accusation. The accused was also arrested earlier by the Tamil Nadu police for throwing petrol bombs while protesting against the ban of PFI in Metupalayam, Coimbatore, causing damage to public and private property. Wahidur Rahman is found to be involved in depositing cash in various bank accounts, which were further transferred to SDPI bank accounts. So PFI funding SDPI, and these were all shown as donations. He is also being arrested under the provisions of PMLA, Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002, and he's been produced before the Patiala House Court by the Enforcement Directorate this Friday. ED initiated investigation against the PFI and others under various clauses and also under PMLA earlier on, and the investigation revealed that office bearers, members and cadre of PFI or the Popular Front of India were conspiring, raising, collecting funds from within Bharat and abroad through banking channels, hawala, donations, etc. for committing and financing terror acts across Bharat. And during search proceedings conducted on the 3rd of December 2020 at various locations belonging to PFI and its office bearers, numerous incriminating documents and digital evidence were recovered and seized that establishes that the PFI used to control, fund and supervise the activities of the political outfit SDPI. SDPI is a political front of the PFI having common members, cadre and leaders. The SDPI was dependent on PFI for its day-to-day functions, policy making, selecting candidates for the election campaign, public programs, cadre mobilization and other related activities. And in this case, the ED had earlier attached the movable and immovable properties amounting to 61.72 crore rupees. till date. So far, 9 prosecution complaints have been filed in this case before the Honorable Special Courts under the PMLA clause. Further, 26 office bearers, members, cadre of PFI have already been arrested in this case, which include the Chairman, General Secretary, office bearers and members of PFI and State Executive Councils of PFI, as well as Physical Education Coordinator and trainers who were providing weapons training to PFI members in cadre. Earlier, the President of the SDPI has also been arrested by the Enforcement Directorate. So the link, the connect between the two, despite denials from SDPI, being established further by the Enforcement Directorate. That's what the ED claims. We're going to take a very short break. When we come back, it's the Balochistan conundrum that we try and break down with the NSAB member and author Tilak Devashan. Stay with us.
सस्ते वाले ऑनरेबल जस्टिस यशवंत वर्मा जी के ऊपर ये लगा है चार्ज। उनके घर से मिला है कैश और काफ़ी बड़ी मात्रा में मिला है। ये ऐसा पता चला है जो मीडिया की खबरों से हमें पता चला है। हमें अपनी व्यक्तिगत जानकारी नहीं है, लेकिन मीडिया की खबरों से यही हमें जानकारी है। बार इसमें उनको किसी कीमत यहाँ एक्सेप्ट नहीं करेगा, ये बार का अपना फैसला है और यही इसी पे हम लोग निर्णय ले रहे हैं। 24 तारीख को 1 बजे जनरल हाउस बुला करके और उसमें बाकी साथी हमारी कार्यकारिणी ने तो ये डिसाइड कर लिया है, लेकिन हम पूरे अपने जनरल हाउस बुला करके बाकी अधिवक्ता साथियों के साथ जो इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट के बाकी अधिवक्ता साथी हैं उनसे हम लोग बातचीत करेंगे और हम लोग एक निर्णय लेंगे और इस पर हम लोग एक बड़े आंदोलन के लिए तैयार होने जा रहे हैं।
So more and more questions now emerging from top lawyers across the country, including Harish Salve. He's also spoken out against the in-house investigation that has been ordered by the Supreme Court, as well as the transfer of Justice Yashwant Varma from the Delhi High Court to the Allahabad High Court. He was speaking to CNN News 18's Rahul Shivshankar. This is what he had to say.
On a day full of implications, really, for judicial transparency, Mr. Salve, your assessment of the response of the Supreme Court Collegium in the first instance?
My response is, I'm afraid to say, very negative. And it's for a reason. The allegations, and I only call them allegations, I have no information beyond what I have read in the newspaper. So I caveat it. But if the allegations are true, and the fact that the Supreme Court has considered it necessary to act, then what should have been the response? And the response has established things which critics of the Collegium system like me have always said, that this system doesn't work. Today, this is not a case where there are some internal complaints against the working of a judge, and in order to ensure that judicial independence and integrity is not compromised, you do an in-house inquiry. Today, this complaint is that, as per the newspapers, the fire brigade and the police went into the judge's home to rescue it from a fire and found large sums of cash. Now, if this is true, it's something which has happened in public. And I have 2 or 3 reasons for which I feel this Collegium decision is deeply flawed. If this had been found, Rahul, in your house, if such a large money would have been found in your house, by now the ED would have been at your doorstep. If this money had been found at the house of the Home Secretary, Finance Secretary, Transport Secretary, would they have been transferred to another department? They would have been suspended and a disciplinary inquiry commenced. Perish the thought, if this had been found in the home of a cabinet minister or a state minister, what would have happened? People would have been paying for their blood. You would have been asking right now, why has he not been arrested? And if the government had said, we will do an in-house inquiry into the cabinet minister, the Supreme Court would have interfered on a PIL. constituted an SIT and a this and a supervised and investigation. Are those same standards to be applied to one of your own? I would say higher standards need to be applied to one of your own. So it's wrong at that level. It's wrong at a second level because this is not, I believe, an in-house inquiry has now been ordered.
Yeah.
This is not fit for an in-house inquiry. Third, why are you transferring this judge? If he is fit to discharge judicial functions, let him be in Delhi. And if he is unfit to discharge judicial functions pending this cloud, till the cloud is either removed or confirmed, is he fit for Allahabad High Court but not for Delhi High Court? What is Allahabad High Court? A dumping ground? So, and you know, this notion that we are sending him to his parent High Court, he didn't come on a promotion to Delhi. Allahabad High Court is a co-equal institution and he was a judge of a co-equal institution. It is moving a judge from one court to the other. We are always told this is not a punishment. It's just a convenient arrangement of dispensing justice. So if he can't dispense justice in Delhi, how does it solve the problem by transferring him to Allahabad? So it is wrong at so many levels. I mean, Allahabad High Court is not a dustbin for judges of doubtful integrity. And if he is not of doubtful integrity, you have all the facts. You, in the sense, the Collegium has all the facts. If you feel his integrity should not be doubted, leave him alone. And tell the people this is a nonsense. The media is running a false story or this is a false narrative or whatever, whatever.
Those are strong words coming in from former Solicitor General of India, Harish Salve, saying that there needs to be a revamp of the Collegium system because if this was the common man from whose home cash was recovered, such action, such as a transfer, would not have been done. In that case, the ED would be at the doorstep of any common man across this country. But another twist coming into this entire case, now we're getting an exclusive interview with the fire chief who oversaw the operations at the judge's residence. He now claims in an exclusive interview to CNN News 18's Anand Srivastav that no cash was found during the recovery operations.
Sir, ये जो cash मिला है, the cash that has been found, it is being said that the cash was found following the incident of fire that happened.
Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to yet another conversation which is always Zara Hatke. And this one is with someone who has his insights deep into the neighborhood. He's an author par excellence, an awesome communicator, but more importantly, he's also a member of the National Security Advisory Board, someone who I have deep admiration for. I love to read his books. 4 on Pakistan already, Tilakji.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you for
so
your
much
time.
for having me, Anand. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
It's been a long time that we've been planning this, but finally it's happened, and perhaps around a time when the conversation in the neighborhood is once again ignited. So let's try and understand the Balochistan conundrum. As you've titled your book, one of the 4 that you've written around Pakistan and the neighborhood. Why is the Balochistan problem such a unique one?
There were several factors. First of all, Balochistan, as you know, 44% of the land area and strategically positioned. So it is too important a province for Pakistan to loosen its grip. But the policies that it has adopted for the last 70 years has done everything to loosen that grip. So that's one major part of the problem. The second problem is Pakistan was created in 47. The Baloch have been on this land for millennia. So they have their own culture, own language, own history, own way of dealing with things. What Pakistan has tried to do since 47 is to impose centralization, Islam, common language and centralization, not give any kind of provincial autonomy to the Baloch or allow them to handle the benefits or get the benefits of their own resources. So the Baloch are saying, you know, we are here much longer than you. You only come in 1947. We've been here for, centuries. So don't push us around. So that conflict is inherent. So I think for these 2 reasons, Balochistan has become a huge dilemma as far as Pakistan is concerned.
But Pakistan was espousing Muslim brotherhood, etc. So the Baloch are not Muslim?
No, they are Muslim, but they are secular. Religion does not define their identity. See, like in the case of the Bengalis, language defined their identity and not so much religion. Muslims हैं, but language is far more important. Similarly for the Baloch, their culture, their history, their the Baloch Mayar, which is the way of the Baloch, far more important than religion. So they are perhaps the most secular people in Pakistan.
No, but this overturns the whole Pakistani narrative of Muslim Brotherhood on its head, no?
Yeah.
Because they have problems with the Pashtuns, Pakhtunistan, you've written about that. They have problems with the Baloch. They are also Muslims. So within their own Pakistan itself, they are fighting with Muslims.
Yeah.
So then why do they go about preaching Muslim Brotherhood to the world and Muslim unity to the world?
So that's it. You see, 1947, when Jinnah sought Pakistan on the basis of religion, he was warned. In fact, Maulana Azad told him that nowhere in the Quran does it say that Islam will form a nation. It doesn't say that. People in the subcontinent have loyalty to their own sects. You can unite them in the name of the sect, you can unite them in the name of anti-Hindu phobia. But you will not be able to unite them in terms of governance. And this is exactly what has happened. All the 4 provinces are pulling in different directions despite being Muslims. There's a 5th insurgency going on in Balochistan at the moment, the far more serious one. The Pashtuns are up in arms, or a section of the Pashtuns are up in arms. So it doesn't work. It hasn't worked. Despite the fact, so artificial unity, if you try and create on the basis of Islam. You see, if Islam was such a unifying factor, why are there 52 Islamic countries?
Correct.
Why are there so many countries in the the Arabian Peninsula itself?
Correct.
So it is not a unifying force, and this is where the mistake, the initial original mistake was made.
True, but Imran Khan recently and everybody else, they try and say the Muslim world should come together. Pakistan will always stand up for the cause of Muslims. So it's quite a hypocritical position isn't it? And they should be called out for it. The other thing, Tilakji, is that Pakistan could not have done this on their own. Whether it is the occupation of the province of Kalat in 48, where they invaded in 47 and then 48, the annexation happens, or thereafter. So one big superpower has to be bankrolling this. Between the Americans and the Chinese, one of them have always been involved. Fair or unfair, right or wrong?
No. That time it was the British.
That was the British, huh?
It was the British who sort of eased the path of the Muslim League to become the representative body of all Muslims. There was a strong movement of Muslims in Hyderabad. The British made sure that only the Muslim League got recognition as the representative body of the Muslim. And within the Muslim League also there were different leaders. But they backed Jinnah. And they made sure that he emerged as the leader of the Muslim League. So the British played the role. Then they played a role in ensuring that Jinnah did not grant independence to Kalat. He had signed a document on 4th of August 1947 agreeing to Kalat's independence. But by October the British said, look, you can't do this. Initially the British thought that they will keep Kalat independent because that was the Treaty of 1876. That they would continue to deal with Balochistan and they would be able to use Balochistan for their imperial interests. But then they realized the whole of Pakistan was available to them. So then they told Jinnah, you can't allow this independence. There's now documents available in which the Commonwealth Office wrote to Jinnah and informed the British High Commissioner in Karachi that please prevail upon Jinnah not to allow Kalat's independence and to force the accession of Khan of Kalat. He forced the accession. Similarly, the British also with Gilgit, the same thing, they worked with Major Brown. So it was the British hand up to the 50s that made sure that Pakistan was not only created, but Pakistan became a viable entity.
Please explain to me and to our viewers, what was the strategic intent behind this? There was a geostrategic intent for the British to do this. They could have left Pakistan or this entire Punjabi Sunni population and that region of Punjab which was split. Why did they want to merge Sindh, Balochistan, then Gilgit and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and all of that? What was the strategic intent?
You see, in 1947, the imperial staff, the British imperial staff, they were preparing plans for the post Second World War. And, how would they locate the forces? And they realized that their forces or British objectives could be met by having a deal with Pakistan itself. They didn't need India. So that kept India out of the equation. Then they found that they have to strengthen Pakistan. So they did three things. First, they converted the Durand line from spheres of influence to an international border. So Afghanistan lost the entire FATA, and it came to, they prevailed upon Jinnah not to allow the exceptions of Kalat. And they told Major Brown to organize that mutiny once they found that the Maharaja of Kashmir had signed the instrument of accession with India. Now their interest was that after the Second World War they realized that the Soviet Union is a threat.
Right.
Relations deteriorated almost immediately. And they also felt that for the protection of what was called the wells of power, the oil wealth of the Middle East, they needed a base. So they found that Pakistan would be the best base, rather than Balochistan itself. So that was their imperial interest, that they wanted to have a strong Pakistan in which they could use against the Soviet Union. Now, Britain was a totally exhausted power. US took over from Britain.
Correct.
And they set up an airbase in Peshawar.
Peshawar and Shamsi also later on.
For Peshawar, the U-2 flights were shot down. Remember? So it became controversial. So they started using Pakistan. Then Pakistan became member of CENTO and CETO and things like that. So they stepped into Britain's shoes, which Britain could no longer continue to do. So that was the strategic interest of Britain and then of the United States.
Where does India come into the picture? Because Pakistan often in times has said that this entire fight or problem in Pakhtunistan with the TTP or with the Baloch, with various factions, is all engineered by the RNAW of Bharat. So let me ask you this.
So, if you look at Pakistan's history from 47, they never accept that anything is their fault. They've always externalized their problems. India karwa raha hai, Israel karwa raha hai, US karwa raha hai. It's somebody else always. They never look within themselves. Why are the Baloch upset? Did India force the accession of the Khan of Kalat, or was it Pakistan? Did they break promises with succession of leaders, with Baloch leaders, that got the Baloch upset? Has India come and deprived the Baloch of the fruits of their resources? It is they themselves, their policies, which have alienated the Baloch to such an extent that now the fifth rebellion insurgency is going on. Similarly with the Pashtuns. They funded, they supported, they gave targets to the Taliban for 20 years. Right?
Correct.
And once the Taliban got into Kabul, they were rejoicing in Pakistan. Imran Khan said, we broke on the shackles of slavery. Their objective was that the Taliban in power will defang the TTP and hand over the leaders to us. It will throw out India from Afghanistan and it will recognize the Durand line. That was their security concerns. Within 6 months, they found none of the three are happening. That was not India's fault. Taliban said no question of recognizing the Durand line because it's an undefined border.
Yeah.
India is back.
It's a matter of great pride for the Pashtuns because they believe that land is...
it divides brothers.
Yeah.
They believe their land is up to Attak.
Correct.
India is back in Kabul. The Taliban says, please come and reopen your project and set up your embassy. We'll protect you. And they said, we cannot do anything against the TTP because when we needed shelter after 2001, it was the tribesmen of FATA who today are organized as the TTP. Gave them shelter, protection. Today the TTP requires shelter and protection. So as per the norms of Pashtunwali, the Taliban has to give them.
That's the cultural tribal brotherhood. That rises above just the religious.
Exactly. So where does India fit into all this? And the TTP has got a very interesting argument. The TTP says we studied in Pakistani madrasas. We were taught by Pakistani ulema that jihad, you have to do jihad in Afghanistan. We did jihad in Afghanistan. That jihad is over. We now want to do jihad in Pakistan. What's wrong? So Pakistan initially had no argument. Then Pakistan said, no. Jihad can be declared only by a state. So TTP said, fine, we are a state. They converted themselves. They have a central commission. They have ministries. They have got 12 provinces. 7 in KPK, 1 in Gilgit-Baltistan, 2 in Punjab, and 2 in Balochistan.
Which they control.
They have nominated their shadow governors, exactly what Taliban had done in Afghanistan. They said, we are a government now, and we have declared jihad, so tell us what's wrong. Pakistan has no answer to their questions. So ideologically too, and territorially. They say this is our ilaka. Then 2 days ago, the Nurwali Masood came out with this statement, the 12-minute statement, where he shows how Pakistan is the most un-Islamic state. He said, Pakistan कहता है Islamic Republic. He said, यहाँ पे एक चीज भी नहीं है जो Islamic है. He said, there's alcohol available. They do Islamic banking. They are, breaking all kinds of laws. He said, we have the real Sharia. And we will impose the real Sharia on Pakistan and not Pakistan itself. Now, the Pakistan doesn't have any answer to that question. And he has spoken directly to the people of Pakistan.
So he's not addressing the government or the military.
He's addressing the people. He said, your government is mostly totally un-Islamic. So, in all this, where is India?
RNAW ही सबको पैसे भेज रहा है. Fund, thousands of dollars are being sent और सारी training RNAW और Indian फौज कर रही है. That's the Pakistani challenge.
Again, whether it's the Pashtuns or the Baloch, they don't need to be trained to fight. They are born fighters.
Correct.
They know the terrain. They know their area. Nobody can come and teach them how to fight. They can teach others how to fight.
Nobody and also to survive with those hardships.
Yeah. So that is one. As far as money is concerned, even for example the Taliban in 1.0, they have different sources of revenue generation. And people have documented this. There are books written on this, where they get their money from. From extortion, overseas, rich Arabs fund them. They've got their own businesses, running their own businesses. Haqqanis, for example, are extremely rich by running their own businesses. Nobody has to come and give them.
They also have opium. There is also that.
That they provide protection for. They are not sort of...
Okay.
I'm not sure about the TTP because not much opium goes on the Pakistani side. That's on the Taliban in the Afghanistan side. And secondly, then how does India push across money anyway? There's no banking channel which the TTP is going to let you remit the money or something like that.
Correct.
So, again, these are all excuses that Pakistan makes. The fact of the matter is that they are not able to deal with neither the TTP nor with the Baloch.
Chinese and the Americans, as they look at that map, an independent democratic Balochistan, does it not serve their strategic purpose more than it being a part of Pakistan today?
They probably feel, to the extent that somebody is thinking about Balochistan in the US.
Because he's looking for rare earth minerals. He needs rare earth minerals. Balochistan has rare earth minerals. He wants a place...
He's too preoccupied with other issues.
I'm just saying, he wants a place where he has an eye on the Middle East, and he also has somewhere a toehold on Afghanistan. Plus, he can have a look at train his guns on China. Balochistan not so far from China. For the Chinese, they know that if they are able to work out a deal, then Balochistan all the way back into Gilgit and via the corridor, they can find a way from Afghanistan into this one on the top. It's a long, at least their CPEC finds some fruition because it's stuck.
But I think if Pakistan weakens more, if it implodes, for example, by the Pashtuns or the Sindh or something else, then what you are saying becomes an option on the table. Right now, it's not on the table. Right now, it is Pakistan itself. People rather deal with a ostensibly strong Pakistan rather than a splintered Pakistan.
Co-powered by
ऑनरेबल जस्टिस यशवंत वर्मा जी के ऊपर ये लगा है चार्ज. उनके घर से मिला है कैश और काफ़ी बड़ी मात्रा में मिला है. ये ऐसा पता चला है जो मीडिया की खबरों से हमें पता चला है. हमें अपनी व्यक्तिगत जानकारी नहीं है, लेकिन मीडिया की खबरों से यही हमें जानकारी है. बार इसमें उनको किसी कीमत यहाँ एक्सेप्ट नहीं करेगा. ये बार का अपना फैसला है और यही इसी पे हम लोग निर्णय ले रहे हैं. 24 तारीख को 1 बजे जनरल हाउस बुला करके, और उसमें बाकी साथी हमारी कार्यकारिणी ने तो ये डिसाइड कर लिया है, लेकिन हम पूरे अपने जनरल हाउस बुला करके बाकी अधिवक्ता साथियों के साथ, जो इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट के बाकी अधिवक्ता साथी हैं, उनसे हम लोग बातचीत करेंगे और हम लोग एक निर्णय लेंगे और इस पर हम लोग एक बड़े आंदोलन के लिए तैयार होने जा रहे हैं.
So more and more questions now emerging from top lawyers across the country, including Harish Salve. He's also spoken out against the in-house investigation that has been ordered by the Supreme Court, as well as the transfer of Justice Yashwant Varma from the Delhi High Court to the Allahabad High Court. He was speaking to CNN News 18's Rahul Shankar. This is what he had to say.
On a day full of implications, really, for judicial transparency, Mr. Salve, your assessment of the response of the Supreme Court Collegium in the first instance.
My response is, I'm afraid to say, very negative. And it's for a reason. The allegations, and I only call them allegations, I have no information beyond what I have read in the newspaper. So I caveat it. But if the allegations are true, and the fact that the Supreme Court has considered it necessary to act, then what should have been the response? And the response has established things which critics of the Collegium system like me have always said, that this system doesn't work. Today, this is not a case where there are some internal complaints against the working of a judge, and in order to ensure that judicial independence and integrity is not compromised, you do an in-house inquiry. Today, this complaint is that, as per the newspapers, the fire brigade and the police went into the judge's home to rescue it from a fire and found large sums of cash. Now, if this is true, it's something which has happened in public. And I have 2 or 3 reasons for which I feel this Collegium decision is deeply flawed. If this had been found, Rahul, in your house, if such a large money would have been found in your house, by now the ED would have been at your doorstep. If this money had been found at the house of the Home Secretary, Finance Secretary, Transport Secretary, would they have been transferred to another department? They would have been suspended and disciplinary inquiry commenced. Perish the thought, if this had been found in the home of a cabinet minister or a state minister, what would have happened? People would have been paying for their blood. You would have been asking right now, why has he not been arrested? And if the government had said, we will do an in-house inquiry into the cabinet minister, the Supreme Court would have interfered on a PIL, constituted an SIT and a supervised investigation. Are those same standards to be applied to one of your own? I would say higher standards need to be applied to one of your own. So it's wrong at that level. It's wrong at a second level because this is not, I believe, an in-house inquiry has now been ordered.
Yeah.
This is not fit for an in-house inquiry. Third, why are you transferring this judge? If he is fit to discharge judicial functions, let him be in Delhi. And if he is unfit to discharge judicial functions pending this cloud, till the cloud is either removed or confirmed, is he fit for Allahabad High Court but not for Delhi High Court? What is Allahabad High Court? A dumping ground? So, and this notion that we are sending him to his parent High Court, he didn't come on a promotion to Delhi. Allahabad High Court is a co-equal institution and he was a judge of a co-equal institution. It is moving a judge from one court to the other. We are always told, this is not a punishment. It's just a convenient arrangement of dispensing justice. So if he can't dispense justice in Delhi, how does it solve the problem by transferring him to Allahabad? So it is wrong at so many levels. I mean, Allahabad High Court is not a dustbin for judges of doubtful integrity. And if he is not of doubtful integrity, you have all the facts. You, in the sense, the Collegium has all the facts. If you feel his integrity should not be doubted, leave him alone. And tell the people this is a nonsense. The media is running a false story, or this is a false narrative, or whatever.
Strong words coming in from former Solicitor General of India, Harish Salve, saying that there needs to be a revamp of the Collegium system, because if this was the common man from whose home cash was recovered, such action, such as a transfer, would not have been done. In that case, the ED would be at the doorstep of any common man across this country. But another twist coming into this entire case, now we're getting an exclusive interview with the fire chief who oversaw the operations at the judge's residence. He now claims in an exclusive interview to CNN News 18's Anand Srivastav that no cash was found during the recovery operations.
Sir, ये जो cash मिला है, the cash that has been found, it is being said that the cash was found following the incident of fire that happened. Did your teams that were at the spot find anything at the time of firefighting?
No, as per our record available, nothing was found like that. I also got this news from the newspaper only from today morning. This is a
Good evening, you're watching Brass Tacks with me, Zaka Jacob. What started as mere whispers has now spiraled into a full-blown controversy after Congress Minister K.N. Rajanna, on the floor of the Karnataka legislature, the assembly, he claimed as many as 48 senior political leaders, including even central figures, have fallen victim to honey trapping. This is what his massive allegation is. What followed was protests, ruckus. There was demand for a CBI investigation into the allegations made by the sitting minister in Karnataka. The BJP claims the Siddaramaiah government is trying to brush this entire controversy under the carpet. The political war of words is only escalating. The JDS too has joined issue now. Now, here's what Minister Rajanna is alleging, that a minister from Tumkuru has been caught in the middle